Walk into a crowded room and feel yourself shrinking in the corner. Not physically, of course. Your body doesn't fold up like origami, but mentally, your eyes scan faces, conversations swirl around you like a river you're not in, and suddenly you wonder, do people even notice you exist? Maybe it's you, maybe someone you know, but there's a quiet psychology behind that invisible feeling, and it's far more common than you think. Today, we're diving into why quiet people often feel invisible in crowded rooms, and what's really happening in the mind when the world feels just a little too loud. Picture this. You're at a party. Someone tells a joke, and laughter explodes across the room. You smile politely, nod, maybe even chuckle softly, but no one comes over to talk. Minutes pass, and you realize you've been standing in almost the exact same spot since you arrived. You could be a statue, or maybe that's how it feels. This isn't just shyness. It's a subtle interplay between personality, attention, and social dynamics, and it varies depending on the type of quiet person you are. Take, for instance, the observer. This is the person who drifts to the edges of social gatherings, watching the way people move, the little quirks in their speech, the tiny micro-expressions others miss. They notice more than they reveal. At first glance, they might seem invisible because they don't grab attention, but the truth is, they're processing the world with a depth most never reach. Psychologically, observers are often highly attuned to social cues. They pick up tension, humor, hierarchy, the invisible web of interaction, and that constant awareness can make actual participation feel risky. It's not that they don't want to be seen, it's that being seen means risking mistakes, misunderstandings, or awkwardness. If this resonates, maybe you felt this tension yourself, the pull of watching versus the risk of stepping in. Then there's the internal thinker. Imagine someone in a crowded conference hall, nodding along while everyone else debates the latest topic. Their mind isn't blank, far from it. They're running scenarios, connecting ideas, replaying conversations they had days ago, or planning the next one. Their attention is internal, so the world outside, the jokes, the small talk, the sideways glances, seems muted. Psychologically, internal thinkers often operate in a self-reflective loop. Their energy is spent thinking rather than projecting outward. The result? Others might overlook them, not out of malice, but simply because their presence isn't broadcast. And here's the twist. Being invisible sometimes protects them, letting their thoughts roam freely without interruption. Maybe that quiet corner isn't a prison, it's a sanctuary. Another profile is the social skeptic. You know this type. They enter a room and immediately assess the group. Who's trustworthy? Who's judgmental? Who's safe? And sometimes they decide that no one meets the standard. Psychologically, social skeptics are wary of emotional overexposure. Crowds feel unpredictable, conversations feel shallow, and attention feels like a commodity to be rationed. This wariness often results in selective engagement. They may speak only when necessary, and even then, with caution. The invisibility isn't accidental. It's protective. It's a subtle rebellion against superficial interaction. Maybe you've seen this in yourself, feeling better observed from a distance than mingling in the fray. And we can't forget the Energy-Conserver. Picture someone at a networking event, constantly shifting between a few close acquaintances while letting the rest of the room buzz past them. Social interaction isn't just conversation, it's energy expenditure. And for energy conservers, every laugh, handshake, and small talk session carries a cost. They feel invisible not because they lack desire for connection, but because they need to ration their vitality carefully. Crowded rooms, bright lights, and overlapping voices aren't just noisy, they're draining. The psychology here is about managing limited emotional resources in a world that constantly demands more. But here's the interesting part. Feeling invisible isn't always a flaw. For some quiet people, it's a choice that allows clarity, observation, and reflection. It's why writers, artists, thinkers, and strategists often report feeling unseen in social situations because their minds are busy elsewhere, gathering material, analyzing dynamics, and processing the subtle patterns of human behavior. So next time you notice someone standing quietly at a gathering, resisting the pull of the conversation, or maybe even recognize it in yourself, remember, invisibility can be both a shield and a lens. It's a quiet kind of power, often misunderstood, and rarely appreciated for the depth it carries. Which type do you think fits you? Are you the observer, the internal thinker, the social skeptic, or the energy conserver? Or maybe a mix of all four? Reflect on it, because understanding these patterns isn't just about social comfort, it's about seeing yourself in a world that often prizes noise over nuance.